Hello there, I'm Jimmy Vegas, and this is how to make a first-person shooter in Unity 5, and welcome to episode 20. So this episode, we're going to add in our own health. We'll get our zombie to hurt us when he hits us. We'll have some pain sounds, and we'll also deal with new scenes and scene switching. So we've got quite a bit to cover in this episode. So let's get going. So firstly, we have this scene here. That's all good and well. So let's set up a brand new scene, which is going to act as, for now, a game over scene. So, File, New Scene. And it should look something like this. So let's save this scene as, let's have this as game over. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail with this screen. It's, for now in this episode, to save time, I'm just going to have a raw image, which is going to be completely black. I'm going to have it stretched to full screen. And in the center of it, I'm just going to have some text which says game over. So obviously, as you would expect, this scene will only be displayed when we get game over, i.e. lose all our health. So let's have it text as 50 and make sure it is center. Let's have the text as kind of deep red. So it looks like we need to expand our box. So yeah, it looks backwards at the moment, but don't worry about that. Obviously, when we press play, there we are. Okay, so this is going to be our basic game over scene. What we're going to do is we're going to set up a health system, so when we get hit, we'll be hurt, and if we lose all our health, we'll end up on this scene. So let's save that scene there, and let's head back to level 001, which is our main scene. Let's zoom in on our first-person controller. So what we'll do is let's have some UI here, whereas when we get hit, it flashes red. So game object, UI, raw image, similar to what we've just done. Let's set the color to red. In fact, let's have it a bit of a deeper red, but change the alpha here to, let's say, about 50. So it is not completely opaque. It is translucent. Don't want it transparent because then you wouldn't see it, but we don't want it fully opaque. So I think 50 is a nice number to have it translucent. Let's do the same as what we did on the game over screen. Let's stretch it to full screen. And there we go. So let's press play. So now you can see there's a red tint to the game. So next, let's right click, rename, and let's call this Hurt UI. And I'm going to untick it here to turn it off. Next, let's add some real quick simple UI to display what our health value is. We can work on actual visual health at a later date, but for now, we only need to see our actual number of what our health is. So game object, UI, text, F2, and let's call it health display. Let's zoom in and let's get it. Where should we have it? Should we have it top? Let's have it top left. So anchor it top left, zero out our position, drag it into place about there, and let's have health. And I'm going to have the initial value as, should we say, 10. And we'll see what happens with that. Let's set it to white so we can see it. And let's increase the size to 25. Let's have a look. Okay, so we can clearly see that for now. As I say, we're not going to worry too much about it because we can do the visual side of it at a later date. It's just important to have it on screen at the moment so we can see what we're doing. So we started using some C# recently, so I figured we should carry on with C# because I feel like it's much easier at this point because we already have our AI starting in C#. So let's go to our scripts, right click, create C# script, and this script is going to contain our health. So it's going to be accessed from multiple different scripts. So let's call it global health. And in here, we're going to have a couple of variables. The first one is going to be a static variable. A static is similar to what we did in a JavaScript script quite a while ago, I think. It's used because you can reference it in different scripts. I'll explain a little bit more as we go along anyway. So let's clear everything it's given us there. So we have our public class. And firstly, public static. And it's going to be an integer. And we're going to call it player health. And we'll also make it equal to 10. That's what we set it as in our text box. So player health equals 10. Next, I'm going to have public int. I'm going to have this called internal health. So as you may be aware, much in the same way it does with JavaScript, if we have a static variable, it doesn't actually display in the inspector panel when we attach it to an object, but I'd still like to have that figure visually here. So having it as an internal health as well enables us to have it here on the inspector panel. Final one is going to be the health display, so that text box we've just set up. So public game object, let's call it health display, semicolon. So this is going to be something which is done every single frame because we need it to kind of update constantly. So we're going to use void update, open close bracket, open curly bracket. And firstly, we need to make internal health equal to player health. So that internal health value constantly updates so we can see what it is. We also need to update our health display. So health display. And we need to get the component, which is called text. So get component, open spiky bracket, text with a capital T, close spiky bracket, and then open close bracket, dot text, because we're referencing the subcomponent, equals the word health with a colon and a space, in quotes, and then plus player health, semicolon. Next line down. What we now need to do is we need this script to tell if we are dead or not, i.e. we have 0 health. So to sort that out, what we need to do is go to File and Build Settings. And here we just need to click Add Open Scenes. And you can see there we have 0, level 001 is 0, which is fine for now. Next thing we need to do is do the exact same with the game over scene. So if we go into that scene and let's save our main scene and File, Build Settings, Add Open Scenes, we can see here that game over.unity, which is this game over scene, is labeled as 1. So we need to put that number in an if statement. So let's close that build settings, head back to level 001, head back to our script, and here, if, and in brackets, player health is equal, and that's a double equal, to 0, open curly bracket, then we need to use something called Scene Manager. And this is also a good time to point out here, hopefully if you followed me exactly as it is now, you should have red highlighted as the text. There are 2 things we need to add to this script at this point. At the very top, before the public class, we need to add in using Unity engine.ui, semicolon. That will allow us to use the UI elements in objects. So, for example, this getComponent.text is now usable because we have using Unity.ui. Next thing we need to add in is using Unity engine scene management, semicolon. So this scene management is something that we use to kind of switch scenes. It's pretty easy because once we have our health equal to 0, we just type scene manager dot load scene, and in brackets the number 1, because that was the number that was attached to our game over scene. And then close curly bracket and save the script. Let's head back to Unity. And okay, so it's given us an error. Let's have a look here. So it's saying there's a parsing error. Okay. Oh, we've got to close our void update. Okay. That's all it is. So we've got the closed curly bracket for the if, the closed curly bracket for the update, and the closed curly bracket to close the entire public class. So that should fix that error, and it does. So now what we do is attach this global health script to an object. So game object, empty, F2, and let's call it global health. And then, yeah, you've already guessed it, just attach that onto there. And we just need to attach the variable. So let's go to our canvas and let's pick up our health display and attach it. There we go. So we could theoretically get rid of any text within there now. So that text is blank. But when we press play, it'll tell us our health is 10. Excuse me. So obviously the reason for that is because it's checking what our health is and it's putting it there in the text box. Okay, so now we have that out of the way. What we need to do is we need to do something called a health manager. Or rather, in fact, no, we won't bother doing it that way. We'll do it an easier way. The idea of a health manager would be to, every time you get hit, it would change it in a script, but we might just do it a little bit differently. So what we'll do now is let's import some sounds for when we get hit. So in audio, let's bring in these 3 audio sounds. They're nothing too special. It's just a bit of grunting on some audio files. You're free to use them if you want. Head over to the website, you can download them there, or you can go to Google and just find some there if you want. So let's add these sounds to our player. So FPS controller, and right click on it, create empty, and F2, and let's call this voice sounds. And within that, let's add another game object. Let's call it hurt01. And yeah, just attach the file onto there, the audio file. And make sure you tick play on awake is, make sure it's unticked. And then let's do the hold control, press D, do the same with hurt2. Drag it on there. F2 to rename and hurt2. And last one. So we've got 3 different possibilities of being hurt. Each one is a different sort of noise. We don't want to have the same one over and over again. So in our script, we'll make it so as we can, how should I put it? Have a different one. It randomizes which one we use. Right, so how are we going to do this now? So I think we need to add to the zombie that is attacking us some extra pieces of code. So this is going to be what we've done for our zombie follow script. So this is our AI script that we're writing here again. So we're modifying it. So we're advancing it just a little bit further now. So this is going to end up quite large. So what I will do is by the time we finish writing this script, I will put the full version of what we've written so far of this on the website as well, so you can download that. So we're going to add in some extra variables now. So the first one, public int is attacking, semicolon. So this one is going to check whether we are rightfully attacking or not. Next is going to be the red screen flash that we did. So public game object, and let's just call it screen flash, semicolon. Next, let's have the 3 audio sources for the audio we've just brought in. So let's have public audio source, and I'm just going to call it hurt01. Then we're going to copy that, do 2 more variables and call them hurt2 and 3. And the last variable we're going to add in here is the number that we're going to randomize to, how can I put it, choose our attack, our hurt audio, I should say. So public int pain sound will do. Just makes it a little bit easier. So what we're going to do now is we need to add in a coroutine as such, which is going to be an IEnumerator rather than a void, because simply we'll be using something called yield return new wait for seconds, and we can't do that in an update because, well, it breaks. So down the bottom here, past void on trigger exit, we need to go down a couple of lines and type I enumerator, and let's call it enemy damage, open close bracket and open curly bracket. So firstly what we'll do is we'll set is attacking as 1, just so we can't repeat this process more than once without our saying so. Nextly, we'll create a random number for our pain sound, and we can do that by pain sound equals random dot range, and in brackets 1, 4. Now the reason we got 4, although we have 3 sounds, is a little fact about random.range is it never generates the maximum number you put. So if you have 3 possibilities, you would have the maximum as 4. If you have 8 possibilities, you would have the maximum as 9. In this case, because we have 3, we put the number 4. Semicolon. Then yield, return new, wait for seconds, and then in brackets, we need to put a value of how long until this is triggered do we flash the screen red. It all depends on the animation of your zombie. So I've done a bit of work on this previously when I prepared for this episode, and I know that when our zombie starts attacking us, exactly 0.9 seconds after the attack animation has started, he would hit us. So if you're using this same zombie that you've got from the website, you would put this number. If you're using a different one, you just need to measure in your animation tab how many frames are long, or how long it is before your zombie actually inflicts any damage on you. So as I say, if you're using this zombie that I'm using here, you'll put 0.9 F. The F is because it's a float, it's not a whole number. So after we've done that, we just need to do screen flash dot set active true semicolon, obviously because we want to display it. At this very point, what we'd do is we would decrease our player health from the other script we wrote earlier, and we called it global health, and within that we had the variable called player health. So it's global health dot player health minus equals 1. So it takes away 1 from whatever the current value is of player health in that other script. Next, what we need to do is we need to make the pain sound. We've already generated the random number, so let's do the if statements. So if, and in brackets, pain sound is equal, that's double equal, to 1, sorry. Then in curly brackets we put hurt 01 dot play, open close bracket, semicolon, and then close if statement. Same applies to if it ends up number 2 or number 3. So we can copy and paste that if statement and change it. So then we'd have if pain sound equals 2, then hurt 2 dot play. If pain sound equals 3, then hurt 3 dot play. So we have the 3 possibilities. So now what we want to do is we need to figure out how long we want to display this flash screen for, because we've waited 0.9 seconds. So let's wait, let's say 0.5 seconds. So yield, in fact we'll do 0.05, that's more like it, isn't it? Return new, wait for seconds, and in brackets 0.05, and that's F because it's a decimal. Close bracket, semicolon, and now we need to do screen flash dot set active false, so we turn it off. Now what we need to do is we need to wait for the rest of the animation to finish, and as I say, if you're using this same model here, the rest of the animation will last exactly 1 second. So yield, return new, wait for seconds, and in brackets 1, and we don't put an F there because it's an integer, it's a whole number, we don't need to put the F for float. After this we can put is attacking equals 0, and then after that we can close enumerator enemy damage. So, as I say, that the key to this is working out the animation time of whatever model you're using. You just need to measure from each point to each point. It may take a little bit of time, but I'd say if you're using this one, you can use these exact values I'm using now. So the last thing we'll need to do is in, let me see. So if the attack trigger is 1, what we're going to need to do is, trying to think the best way to do this. We can put another if in there. So if is attacking double equal to 0, then what we need to do is start routine, and in brackets we called it enemy damage, open close bracket, semicolon, and then close curly bracket, and save the script. So hopefully if we go back to Unity, okay, so it's saying, okay, I think we may have missed another curly bracket somewhere. Let's double check what we've got here. So enumerator, okay, it doesn't like something somewhere. Where's it complaining? Okay, so it appears I've just missed a semicolon there. No big deal. So semicolon's in there. Save. Let's head back to Unity. Excellent. Okay. So we now need to go to our zombie and readjust all of these little things here for our variables. So let's add in our hurt sound. All good. Hurt 2. All good. And hurt 03, as well as a screen flash, which is hurt UI. And let's save our project there. So now when we press play, we should be able to go over here and our zombie will hit us. He's not quite doing anything. Okay, so we can, oh, that's why we didn't have our coroutine starting. Okay, so once more, we should have our coroutine start up quite nicely. So you can see here, everything's working quite nicely. So let's be hit a couple more times. Nice and easy this, isn't it? One more time. Okay, and there we have game over. So you're free here now to, modify what we've given you, change things around, do what you need to do. And it really is a case of taking your time, working things out, and doing what you need to do. So next episode, we'll start with the enemy dying. So we'll need to kill it, because at the moment, if we shoot it, it just disappears. There is a death animation. It's just a case of putting a death animation in there. If you guys want to have a go at that before next episode, go for it. We'll also look at doing bullet holes too, and then after that, we'll start doing some environmental design, start dealing with more scenes, and we'll go from there. So guys, until that next episode, thank you very much for watching.